Welcome to Own the Season podcast. We will talk to industry insiders along with outdoor enthusiasts to help you own your season. Now let's join hosts Art and Michelle Helen with Brad Jones. Own the Season podcast is sponsored by Griffin Armament, the oldest privately owned silencer manufacturer in the United States. Go to griffinarmament.com to learn how you can get a silencer shipped to your door. Griffin Armament, engineered silence.
Hello and welcome to Own the Season podcast. I'm Michelle Helen, and with me I have Art Helen. And today our guest is Brandon Censki with Open Season Sportsman Expos. Hey, Brandon.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to talk with you. It's getting to be that time of year, right?
Another trip around the sun. Yeah, the shows are coming in hot.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too last night. So the Open Season Expos, there's Ohio and Wisconsin, right? Are there any others these days?
That's it. We condensed down to just those two. So March is busy. They're back-to-back again this year, which it tends to be a lot, but we're going to get through it. We'll both be there.
We will.
Yeah.
We've been doing these things forever and ever and ever. Probably before you were even doing them. Michelle and I were doing
started with Open Season 10 years ago, and I'm sure you guys were there a while before that.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when. Of course, it wasn't owned. It was an Open Season Expo then with Gagne. It was Deer and Turkey Expos with Target Communications and Glenn. And Art was doing a booth strictly for new archery products.
Sure.
And then I started doing an archery, archery booth with Ralph Cianciarulo's mom, Arlene.
Oh, sure.
She and I would run mostly kids, little archery range, and anybody who kids and we had adults too who never shot a bow and wanted to try it, and we would put through a lot of people in a weekend. So Art and I've been doing the shows. What do you think, Art? 20 years?
Oh, it's
more.
It's more than that. I know.
Like somewhere between 20, 25. I don't know.
Yeah, because I remember, like you said, I was doing them for new archery products. And Ralph and Vicky had their booth next to us. And back then we had the Illinois show, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And, so we would travel and do all those. And, it was, just me in that booth. You would help, if you weren't helping Ma, but it was just me. So then, I started, I was next to them, and so Ralph and Vicky would do their thing, and we were filming with them at the time. And, the show, I don't want to say has changed because it's pretty much the same, just the name has changed. And, it's just, even for the last 25, 30 years, the show has been just a great show, with seminars, with different, things happening for families and kids and people to show up to. And, and I've been in this industry a long, long time. Some days I think maybe too long. But, I remember I got into this industry because of the Deer and Turkey Expos. I went to the Madison show before I even, was doing these things and looking at all the neat new products and the things that you can do at these shows. And at the time, I was on the circuit doing bow shoots. So I was doing a lot of the IBO shoots and getting ready to shoot the Worlds. And I just happened to be back in the day, the XI booth. And I was talking to a gentleman there who was the rep, Brett Whitty. And as I started talking to Brett, one thing led to another. Next thing you knew, weeks down the road, XI had reached out to me along with Brett. And then I became friends with Miles Keller, and then everything just kind of took off from there. And got into the industry, and I was doing some seminars and stuff, but again, my big seminars started in Ohio at the Ohio Deer Classic, because Ralph, one day Glenn came up to Ralph back when Glenn was running the shows, and came up to Ralph and said, "Hey, can you do these extra seminars because one of our seminar speakers is sick?" And
sure.
Ralph said, "Hey, you know what?" He said, "Art's been doing seminars, at Bass Pros and different things for years now. Why don't you put him in and see what we can do, and see what he can do for you?" And that began the relationship, with Glenn and the Deer and Turkey Expos. And so I've seen a lot of changes at these shows, but they're still great shows that
Right.
People can see a lot and learn a lot from. And with that and kind of the background for me, kind of fill us in on what all the exciting cool things are, and the difference between the two shows, Ohio and the Dells.
Sure. Yeah, really the concept of the shows is the same, but the industry is ever changing, and that's the whole reason why these shows work. The whole goal of the show is to bring our audience the newest, latest, and greatest products in the industry, where they can come touch, feel, and hear from the manufacturer's mouth what is new, what is different, and why their product is the best. And you just can't get that online. And so we're able to continually change the show because we're bringing in new brands. Different parts of the industry grow rapidly, cell cams and new camo patterns and everything in between. We need to bring all of that stuff to the forefront and have it at the show, and that's what keeps these shows going. People are coming there. It's kind of a one-stop shop to come and get anything you need to gear up for, whether it's turkey season or whitetail season. We have basically everything there.
Yeah, the variety is great. And like you said, I think, that there is really something to that about, like, touching it, like holding it in your hand, asking the questions. And, there's just a ton of items that you can get and buy and go home with, from the show. We see people, walking around with their purchases. And then, sometimes, there's not necessarily, I won't even say like there's the tire kickers, right? But I think sometimes, there might, sometimes the manufacturers are there. And like you said, that's the horse's mouth. They know their product better than anyone. But they may not be selling direct to the consumer, because they want people to support the local dealers.
Yeah, right.
And the manufacturers don't want to sell out from under, their dealers, and they respect that relationship. But you've got the opportunity to get your questions answered, see the product, hold it in your hand, really, understand it. And then, if it's not available for purchase there, go out and buy it locally and support local.
Exactly. Yeah. You guys know as well as I do, our industry, our hobbies is not inexpensive by any means. And so when you're making these purchases, whether it's a new bow or crossbow or new optic, or even outfitting yourself with brand new camouflage, you want to know exactly what you're getting. And you can't see that online. You can get a picture or a snapshot of it, but until you try it on or try it out, you really don't know what you're going to buy. And when you're spending that kind of money, it's nice to see it firsthand.
Yeah, it is. And, the other thing that you get at your shows, especially from like, Michelle and I and our team, when we're there, because we don't really sell things. What we do is we bring in our partners, product from our partners, the new stuff that's available, and it's a show and tell. So we are educated on the product, different things, and so we want to answer those questions, as Michelle kind of said earlier, and we can answer some of those questions, and nothing against big box stores, because big box stores are great. However, they always have a few people that are very intelligent and up on the product. Not saying the other people aren't intelligent, but a lot of them, it's a weekend job, or it's just something to hold them over for a little bit of time, and they don't have time to learn all the product in a Bass Pro or Cabela's. They just don't. There's so many products there, and so that
exactly,
and that's why we're there.
There's too many products for somebody at a store like that to be an expert on everything. So what we do is we bring all the experts into one room, and you can go talk to them firsthand.
Right.
Yeah.
So we hear it, we hear, oh, you mean you're not selling this? We don't sell a lot at our booth. I mean, there are a few things that we do, but not, we sell more knowledge than anything. And,
sure.
That's for free. We're free. We're giving that away.
And, well, to get Michelle's knowledge, it always costs me anyway.
Right.
But, that knowledge, like she said, truly is free. And so we help you make that decision. As you said, Brandon, that decision can be made at the show. Then there might be a dealer. I mean, there are dealers at some of these shows that bring the product in. You can go there, and sometimes you can get that show special. If they don't, now you know what you want when you walk into that store. You can go into your box stores, you can go to your local dealers, whoever, and say, hey, I saw this, I talked to them, I know the difference between these three products, this is the one I want. And,
exactly.
So it cuts that time down, your decision making down.
Yeah.
And there's going to be stuff there that, as remarkable as the internet is, you may never have heard of it, or brands that you've never heard of that are brand new that might have found new technology that you are unaware of, and it might change your decision as opposed to just going with the same company that you've went with for years. The industry is changing daily, as you and I both know, and there's just a lot of options out there.
Yeah. Before we talk about some of the other great features of the shows, Brandon, I do want to hit on another category of vendor booths that I think is wonderful to have at the show. And those are the nonprofits and conservation organizations. I think it's so important for them to be there and represented so that us as outdoors people can learn about them and join and become a member, because those are the organizations that are, educating and working on our behalf when it comes to, lobbying and, rights to continue to hunt and shoot and enjoy the activities that we pursue.
Absolutely. Yeah, the nonprofits are a really big part of our industry and how we move forward, whether it's protecting and gaining more public lands for us to enjoy, or just protecting the species that we like to hunt and conserving the land and the animal. We need those nonprofits to be there, and we support them at our shows. We do nonprofit discounts for any and all nonprofit in the industry that wants to be at the event, and we work hand in hand with them.
Yeah, I think that's just great. A couple of the other let's talk about some of the other features at the show. One of them, it would be your seminar speakers. For just the price of admission, people have access to attend as many seminars as they want.
Yeah, they could sit in the seminar from the time we open the doors until it closes. We do try and give as many different seminars and options as possible for everybody. In Ohio, we run 3 seminar rooms, and in Wisconsin, we run 2. But there are new seminars every hour on the hour to learn just about anything you could want to learn in the hunting industry. With you guys being, Art, you've been a seminar speaker, and Michelle in the past a lot of different times. And Art, in Ohio and in Wisconsin, you're speaking on two different things. Is that correct?
Yes. This year in Ohio, I believe that is the one I am doing, maximizing habitat for ecosystems, for wildlife.
Yep.
And that one is, I'm going to kind of break down, for years, I've done habitat management work and done a lot of consulting over the years. And a lot of it has truly been focused on whitetails, because that's what we focus on so much, is growing big whitetails, doing things. So I've really, over the last probably 7-8 years, have seen a change from, because we work with so many different organizations with, the NWTF and whitetails and all these different things. But I've noticed, listening to these different organizations and to trapping organizations, and, that this animal is on the decline, or this animal is, increasing, or, the birds are dying for people that want to be birders, and all these different things. And so I started really taking a deeper dive and looking at, what's going on. And I think a lot of it is because we have so much focus on that whitetail and not everything else. So we've kind of started looking at, how do we optimize our properties and diversify them for all the wildlife, so we have a better ecosystem, so the whitetails are healthier, we've got more turkeys, we've got, and can you do it all on a 20-acre, 30, 40-acre tract of land? Absolutely not. But if you start, and then your neighbors, and then, there's pockets that get better, it just helps everything. And so I'm going to kind of break that down and talk about making the ecosystem absolutely better for everything. And
absolutely. Yeah, it all compounds on top of each other. And yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, but if we all start making an effort to improve our habitats, it can change pretty quickly.
Yeah.
We just need to all work together. And then in Wisconsin, you're talking about using mock scrapes.
Yes.
Which is a great tool. I mean, you and I both know it. You can change things for your favor pretty quickly with a mock scrape.
Right. And, so I'm going to break down when you're actually, when we start them, once you get them established, how to create community scrapes for, 365-day usage of these animals, and how to build them to put them in your advantage. So, a lot of people might have a 3-acre field and they say, well, what good is, this? I sit on one end because of the way the wind is, and the deer like to sit in the middle or the other end, and I keep blowing them out. There's no reason for them to be here. So there's a lot of ways to create those reasons and give an advantage to you when you're hunting those whitetails. And, for early season rut and post rut, so there's a lot of ways to maximize using those scrapes and how to create them, and then how to best use them and hunt them for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, and there's a lot of knowledge to unpack there. And there's just other seminars too. I mean, Zach Haas, you guys know well with Creek Bottom Land Management in Ohio. He'll be talking about EHD prevention, which has hit that state really hard lately.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something people are really intrigued to learn more about. Randy Flannery, who's been a great seminar speaker for us in the past, will be tracking and stalking whitetails. And Robbie Pruitt with Antler King will be talking about food plots. A friend and colleague of yours, Keith Beam, is talking about bow hunting for turkeys. We have prescribed fire in Ohio seminar on to do prescribed fires on your land. There's just a ton of knowledge that people can come and learn through these seminars on specific niche things to help improve their land and their hunting success overall.
Yeah, and and that's awesome because especially for me in Ohio this year for the one I'm doing, these others piggyback perfect, with the prescribed burns because, I'll be talking briefly on that and, this EH defense. I do things with them with water. I've worked with aquatic biologists for years. I've worked with Zach and, he's helping with some of these things on how to combat EHD, and so they're great seminars. Randy is just he's a plethora of knowledge when it comes to a lot of different things. So
exactly,
there's a lot of great cool things at these. The one that I think I'm gonna miss the most is friend and colleague, I guess, would be Byron Ferguson. Bless his heart, he just passed away this last year. And, he was always a staple of the show. He was great.
Yeah, we'd be remiss not to talk about Byron. I mean, he's an incredible person. We're going to miss him dearly. He was part of the show probably since it began. Mm-hmm. And he packed the house every weekend that he was there, and it was just such a cool, entertaining thing. And the problem is, earlier in the podcast you said, we could be replaced. He's kind of one of those guys that you can't, because not many people, if any, can do what he did. So he was just an incredible person and friend, and we're going to miss him a lot.
Agreed.
We sure are. I think, just him, Byron, and his wife, Wanda, just great people, and it's not going to be the same. I know Art and I would joke, nobody wanted to speak at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, I hated it.
You were guaranteed to have an empty room.
Right. We always tried to switch it up where someone always had to, throughout the weekend, go against him, and we tried to make it not happen twice, because he's a tough act to go up against for sure.
He was, and it was horrible, and so I was always happy when he would be like following me or I would be following him, because two things would happen. Either one, at the end of your seminar, you looked like you were really popular if he was next, because you'd get all these people early, or if he was before you, people would stay, so
sure.
But if you were against him, you're like, man, this is brutal. And but and he was one of those acts that you didn't just see once. You had to see it, every year, every other year when you went, just because he was that amazing. And
he was, and he was always coming up with different tricks and things like that. It's incredible what he was able to do on such a small stage in front of that many people, and consistently successfully do it every time.
Yeah. For those who don't know, just to back up a little bit, so Byron Ferguson's act was trick shooting with traditional archery. So I don't know if he used a recurve or a longbow, but he was a amazing trick shooter, and would demonstrate that with his wife, I think, often assisting, holding or tossing the target. Of think, what was that? Is it William Tell? Like, what's the other one with the kind of old person that would have the apple on someone's head and shoot?
Tell, yes.
Yeah, I mean, kind of think that, that's the kind of stuff Byron was doing. And I would always advise people, that were at the show, or friends of mine or ours that were attending a show for the first time. I would always say, you got to go see Byron. You got to see Byron at least once.
Yeah, if anyone ever wanted to just see a quick example of what he did, just Google him, and Impossible Shots was a show on the History Channel
Oh, okay.
You'll see him do some incredible stuff. Not always even just with a bow. He was doing it with a gun too. So he's just, I don't know. His eyes are different than ours.
Yeah, he just had that hand-eye coordination that a lot of people are not blessed with, and he was blessed with it, and he used it to his advantage. I mean, he took, what God gave him, and then he just made it that much better by consistently doing it and practicing and getting better at it, So,
so I'm glad to hear that that there's those online, recordings and shows that people can still go out and see what Byron did. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to have Byron as an attraction, but there are some other kind of unique things that fall into that attraction category that aren't vendor booths traditionally or seminars. What are some of the other attractions, Brandon?
Yeah, just real quick, actually, kind of seminars. In Ohio, we are bringing the water skiing squirrel, which we had in Wisconsin last year, but it's just a really fun thing for the kids to see, and it's kind of interesting. So that normally brings a big kid crowd, and to piggyback on that in Ohio as well, we have Troy Thompson coming with bird down retrievers, and I'm intrigued to see this because he's going to teach us tips and tricks to train your dog, but as well as he'll do mock duck hunts with kids, and he's giving every kid there a duck call. So that's going to be really neat to watch these kids kind of blow on them for the first time. Bring your earbuds because I'm sure it's going to get loud, and it's just something fun for the kids to do.
I'm giggling because then I'm picturing like that many more kids walking the show for the rest of the show. Blowing on first duck call.
Yeah, we might regret it as soon as it happens, but
it's going to be great.
The more we can do for families is the better. Another really big thing this year, which we're pushing out as much as possible, is our trophy deer contest. Ohio and Wisconsin are meccas when it comes to trophy deer, and it's always been a staple of the show, but I think we've kind of missed the boat with the 140 to 180 class deer. There's plenty of mature whitetails out there that just don't get the antler growth to be a 190 or 200 inch deer. And I think people have been leaving them at home because we get those 200 inch deer in Ohio and Wisconsin at the trophy deer contest, and they know they won't win. Well, now they have a chance to win. We're getting prizes donated weekly to our trophy deer contest this year, and it's going to be a random draw. Nice. If you have a mount you want to bring in, come bring it in, get it scored. Everybody still loves to look at 130, 140, 150 inch deer. They want to know where they were shot, and you'll be entered into a random draw. You could win a Matthews Arc bow, a Tacticam, a Blackgate camera, a Vortex binoculars. I mean, the list goes on and on of the prizes we're getting in for this, and we're hoping it's going to be the biggest deer attraction yet.
And that's awesome because you said it and you hit that nail on the head. I mean, Wisconsin and Ohio are, known for that. Iowa, of course. I mean, but Illinois, they've all got big bucks, but Wisconsin and Ohio have a lot of big deer. And I think with the push over the last few years, last 10, 15 years, people, if it's not 150 inches or bigger, they just think, it's a deer. And if you really, dig down and look at statistics, so anything, most people will never see a 120 inch deer in their life. They won't kill a 120 inch deer in their life. So it's awesome to see you guys, really push that to get people to bring those deer, because we just had another podcast about this and we were talking about it, and I said, here's the thing. We all want to kill that 200 inch deer. We all want to kill Boone and Crockett's, but I said, you shot that deer, and at that point in time that you shot that deer, you had made that choice. You just took a living, breathing animal, and
exactly.
You took it, for food, and you were happy with it when you squeeze the trigger. Now you might have got up to it and you're like, oh, there's ground shrinkage, or you go on the internet, and that's one of our biggest issues today, is you go on the internet, and I hate it when people make the excuse, I know it's not the biggest, but you chose to squeeze the trigger. So you were happy when you did that. Continue to be happy, and showcase that animal. Because again, you took a living, breathing thing. Be proud of it. Be proud of that animal.
And you made the purchase to mount this animal and give it the respect it deserves.
100%.
Let's put these all on display and show everyone how great of the hunting is in Ohio and Wisconsin. I mean, we could have a wall of deer that nobody's ever seen before. Yeah. And again, every time I see a 150-inch deer, I'm impressed with it. It doesn't have to be 200 inches. And so we want to reward those guys. We're going to do it random draw. If a kid brings in his first deer and it's a 100-inch 8-pointer, he can still walk out of there with a brand new bow, or he could win the top prize through this random draw. We still will do our plaques and trophies, and we still will have prizes for the biggest and best deer in each category. But we wanted to encourage everyone to bring out their deer, get a weekend pass for the weekend, spend the weekend at the show, and just enjoy our hunting heritage all weekend long.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's great that you're recognizing and with the potential to win a prize regardless of the size, right? So when people bring in their deer, does that have to be this past season's deer, or can people still bring in older or historical?
Yep, a lot of people are bringing in last year's deer, but as long as it has not won in the past, so we have records of everybody that's ever entered a deer before. As long as it's never been entered into the contest, we'll still take it from historical, and we'll have our own category for that. Okay. And last year's deer. So we encourage everyone that has a deer on the wall, bring it in, and you might win something great. But at the very least, you'll get a lot of people paying respect to that animal and taking a look at it. And it's just so fun to guess what county it was in or guess what the score was. And when you see all these deer, it's just the more the better. It's very impressive.
Yeah, there's something to that, when you walk in and you see a big wall of, 100-inch to 200-inch deer. And the cool thing is every one of those deer, their antlers are unique, and every one of them has a story. And that's the cool thing is, you may not go in there and go, oh, well, okay, that's just a deer. But to somebody else, that's a trophy, or that is a really cool story, or something behind that. And so it's cool for the person who shot that deer to bring that out and display it. It's your story. Get it out there and let people see that. And if you're there at the show, man, fill them in on the story. Everybody that's at the shows, and that's the cool thing about your shows is, doing these forever. I hear more stories than I've ever wanted to in my life about different deer, about different things. And, you sit there for a minute and you're like, oh my God, another story. But then you're like, but this is why we're here. It's the camaraderie, it's like having on deer hunting weekend, going and sitting with your friends in their basement and yapping about how it went. Well, now you're just doing it with, 20,000 strangers. Right. Some become friends, but 20,000 strangers that are there because they love to do the same thing that everybody else in that building is doing. They're all hunters, they're all having fun, and they all want to share a story. And so that's the cool thing about the shows.
Yeah, it's a giant deer camp. You're coming there to hang with your buddies, have a beer, buy some new stuff, talk about last year's season, and just enjoy the sport that we all love, and we all think about it all year round. Well, this happens in March, so it lets you scratch the itch a little bit, and then you got to wait again until November.
Yeah.
But that's your turkey hunters. Then it's not quite so much of a wait.
That's right. Yeah. And again, right before turkey season. I mean, Ohio alone, any custom turkey call manufacturer is there. I mean, I think we have over 18 different call makers at that event, and the show seems to support them all, which means there's a ton of turkey hunters coming through that door, and they're all doing well. And so if you need a new call, new mouth call, new box call, new slate call, if you need a new decoy, new vest, new camo, I mean, you can do a one-stop shop at the show, support these manufacturers, and again, you might see something that you've never seen before.
Well, yeah. If everything works, when you stop by our booth or Keith Beam's booth, you'll hopefully something you haven't seen before. So we're hoping, knocking on wood and crossing our fingers, that we will have a new book out by the time your show rolls around, that Keith and I are in the process of finishing up. So, but
well, and I know how much work goes into something like that, and
way more than I ever thought.
Right. So, if it's not there this year, it'll for sure be there in 2027. But hopefully, you guys can wrap it up by then.
Yeah, we're trying. So, kind of. You say you got Ohio and Wisconsin, and how many? What's the big difference between the shows, and where are they at? Tell us where they're at, how many booths and things, what people can expect for the sizes.
Yeah, really, it's a regional thing. There's not too much different when it comes to the amount of exhibitors, the attendance. We're doing 250 to 300 exhibitors at both of those events. So there's a lot to see. Sometimes that number's higher than lower, depending on if companies are getting large booth spaces or smaller booth spaces. But it'll be right in that sweet spot of 250 to 300. And both of them are putting 20,000 plus people through the door in the weekend. So the Ohio show is at Columbus, Ohio, at the Expo Center there. We've been there. This is our 32nd year. And the Wisconsin show is going on its 40th year this year. And we moved it in 2021 to the Wisconsin Dells, and it's been a home run ever since we moved it there. The venue's beautiful. Everybody seems to really enjoy it, so we're excited for another year back.
That's awesome.
Is there, so they both have a lot of exhibitors. Do either of them have any room for additional exhibitors, or is it a waiting list for both events?
Wisconsin is sold out currently. Ohio, it's getting tight, but there is a little bit of room there. The Ohio Expo Center is just a massive one-room building, and it actually has more square footage for booths than Wisconsin does. So it allows us to squeeze a few more people in there. But yes, we are still accepting a few more applications for Ohio. I would get it in quickly if you're listening and you want to join us. I would say in the next week or two, it'll probably be completely sold out there as well.
That's great. And plus, I think, the other thing too, not only do you want to get your booth space secured if you still want to come to Ohio, but there's, different requirements, getting insurance certificates in, getting your hotels, booked, and there's, sometimes discounts to be had on exhibitor services like electricity and any furnishings and things that you might want to rent, from the venue.
Right. Yeah. Even though we're 6 weeks away, stuff takes time, and to plan it, if you know you're going to come, reach out and we'll get you in there. Plus, the earlier you reach out, the better your booth space is going to be. It starts to get tight, and we try to put you where we can, but people prefer their spots.
Really? We've been doing this for 40 years, and you still have us in the basement.
Yeah, you're lucky you're not in the broom closet.
Right.
Well, there is no basement, so.
Yeah. Well, but I was thinking, though, when you were talking about Randy Flannery, I think, one thing that, I enjoy as, an exhibitor is, the exhibitors, like, it's kind of a family of its own. and it's like a family reunion a little bit. It has this kind of reunion feel when we're all back at the show. It's this combination between this like extended, large family reunion and like a circus. Like just like the big top goes up, and then the big top comes down on Sunday, and there's people that we only see, the once or twice a year when we're doing these shows.
Right.
But that we've been seeing them for 25 years, or 20 years. And it's been fun too when we have like consistent like booth neighbors, over the years. And recently we have been near Randy. He's been in our aisle and we've been kind of booth neighbors with him.
Sure. Yeah. It amazes me every year how it takes 3 days to set the show up. And as soon as it's done on Sunday, within an hour, everybody's gone and out of there. So it's pretty impressive. But speaking of Randy, one thing we didn't really touch on when we were talking about exhibitor booths is outfitters. There are a lot of outfitters at both of these shows. If you're looking to book really any hunt under the sun, whether it's waterfowl, spring bear, fall bear, mule deer, elk, I mean, if you want to look for a place to go and hunt something, odds are we have an outfitter in that area at the show.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking through the list of different things, and I mean, there's everything from outfitters to food plot seeds to tree stands to optics to knife companies, blind companies. I mean, you name it. And then there's, again, camouflage, right. And there's guys, there's like Michelle and I with, a TV show, but then bringing partners in so that people can touch, feel, and see things. And you've got, the bow hunter die guys, started back at the shows here a couple years ago. And, Justin and Todd are just super good people that are there. You've got, I'm trying to think, as soon as you walk in the door, we've always got, your,
Whitetail Adrenaline.
Well, yeah, there's Whitetail Adrenaline, but, the podcast guys,
Working Class.
Yeah, Working Class. I kept thinking, I could just see the logo in my head thinking, Whitetail, but it's, Working Class, so there's just a lot of different options and like I said, different things to really see and do. It's not just strictly, I'm going to walk in there and see a bunch of hunting stuff. You're actually going to see, a ton of hunting, or outdoor stuff. It's to do with all that, the NRA is there. There's so many things.
Land management especially, you specialize in that, but if you're coming and you have a property somewhere and you're interested in any type of land management, we have the vehicles, we have the implement attachments, we have the food plot seed and the sprays and, anything that you could do to your property to make it better. Odds are something's there. You want a new box blind, you're going to be able to compare 9 different brands or more and pick out the exact box blind you want for your property. Right. And they all relatively run the same price. So it's, again, one of those things you want to touch, feel, see before you make your decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
So there's a lot at the shows for people to see. Brandon, if you would explain to people, potential attendees, how they can buy tickets, if there's any special days or special rates for different audiences and things like that.
Yeah, so to buy a ticket, definitely go online. That's the best price you're going to get. It's $10 online up until the start of the show. And so for either of the shows, just go to openseasonsportsmansexpo.com and click on either Ohio and Wisconsin and buy your tickets ahead of time. It would be emailed to you, texted to you. You can print it off however you want to do it, but that's going to be your cheapest rate. We do sell tickets at the door. It does go up to $15 at the door. So buy your tickets early to get the best cost for that. No. And for special pricing, we do not charge for kids. Okay. All kids 12 and under are free. So definitely bring your families out and let's get them into the outdoors and teach these kids, because we need to keep growing our industry, and the best way to do it is to get kids involved.
How about senior citizens?
Right now, currently, we do not have a senior citizen discount. We do have a $10 discount for any active military at the show. Okay. If they want to buy at the door, they will get their cheapest ticket, whether they buy it online or at the door.
Awesome. So, yeah, I'm just throwing that out there because you're going to get the question.
Right.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want, that we haven't touched on, Brandon, that you want people to know about the open season Sportsman Expos?
Really I just want to thank everyone that's supported us over the years, whether it's exhibitors or attendees. Again, the show is relatively the same, but as we mentioned, it's different. Come see the new products, support these exhibitors, support our vendors, and continue to keep our tradition alive. And we will keep making the show bigger and better for years to
come. Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, thank you for being on with us today and sharing so much information with us and our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I can't wait to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've got only two things that I want to say. I'm just kind of plugging myself is, March 20th through the 22nd is in Columbus, and we will be out there and we will have a booth at 408 and then doing seminars. So swing by and see us there. And, if you're not going to be in Ohio, but you'll be at the Wisconsin show, that show is going to be at the Wisconsin Dells Kalahari Resort, March 27th through the 29th. And we will be in booth 704, again, doing seminars there too. So swing by and see us. We'd love to see you. Say hi and, enjoy the show while you're there.
Absolutely. So get online at openseasonsportsmansexpo.com. Get your tickets in advance for the best price. Bring your deer heads. Let's see some great walls of deer. They're all trophies to us. See all the great products and outfitters and attractions and seminars, and just gather all that information, learn as much as you can, and own the season.